It's Stone Go. Dun, 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 dun. Flo, what happened this weekend?
I got engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
Get the zoom in, Joe. Get the zoom in. Zoom in on
Wow,
that.
we just went
Zoom
right.
in.
What was
the
you doing
shot.
this weekend? Well, this is Jeremy
Look.
Full. Oh, she's still talking about the ring. We're trying to move on to section 2 already, and she's still holding us back. But no, that's okay. This is Jeremy Fultz alongside of me. So is he taking your last name, or are you going to take his?
He's taking mine.
All right. So what do you do when you announce someone? The soon-to-be Mrs. Flo Wise still, right?
Yep.
Man, it was a good weekend, wasn't it, Flo?
It was a great weekend.
Man, and so for everyone that's kind of, what's going on? What's going on? Flo,
Nobody was asking that.
what did you, there's millions of listeners out there. What did you do this weekend?
This weekend, what did I do? Well, my day started off, I was just going to go get some Korean barbecue, and I ended up at Lake Hefner, and then ended up getting proposed to. So that's crazy, boss. Life is crazy.
Life, they say it on this radio show, life is a highway.
Right.
So.
Yeah. What about you, boss? What'd you do?
Oh, just, what did I do this weekend? I feel like I went somewhere, but I can't remember. It's been too far. Oh, I went to the inauguration this weekend.
Woo!
Yeah.
That is actually, okay, that is, I think I got proposed to on the same day of the inauguration, so.
History in the making.
Yeah, right.
So
tell us about that.
Both events was
Joe,
history.
Why would you say that?
But it was a good weekend. The new chief and assistant chief, Chief Sina Yeslith and Assistant Chief Sheila Harjo were sworn in and went right into their general council meeting. Afterwards was an ice cream social. It was a good time. We was here. I think I woke up Saturday morning about 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
got down here because we had to do set up for everything by 8. And swearing in started about 10, and it was a good time. We a lot of dignitaries was in the house. Governor Anatubby, Chief Hill, or Governor Anatubby from Chickasaw Nation, and then Chief Hill from Muskogee Creek Nation was in the house. A lot of band chiefs. The new council was sworn in this weekend, and so it was a good time. Everyone came together. It was nice seeing everyone that dressed up, and you seen a lot of patchwork, seen a lot of fancy. I say fancy. A lot of nice, presentable patchwork that looked. It was for photo, I mean, it looked good. It looked good.
Seminole,
all the photos.
stand up.
I know.
Always.
I seen all the photos this weekend or from this weekend, and they were colorful and looked great. And so it was a good weekend. And then Sunday, I think I rested.
Good deal.
Good deal. All right, so let's get into it. I know we got an action-packed show today.
All right.
And so tell us about the church meetings, Florence.
All right, so this weekend will be September 14th, and so those churches having meetings this weekend will be Artesia, Beaver, BMO, Bird Creek, Buckeye Creek, Community IBC, Deep Fork, Columbia, Hickory Ground number 2, Little Casita, Miccosukee, Middle Creek number 2, Montezuma, Okfuskee, Pecan Grove, Sand Creek Eufaula, Tolma Jesse, and Wetumpka. So if you plan on visiting any of these churches, and Rock Spring. So if you plan on visiting any of these churches this weekend, make sure you call ahead to see that they're not visiting, and let's help each other out. So let's see, anything else on that? I believe that's all for church meetings.
All right, and then every week we talk about the ones who started their journey, and this week the community has lost some people that have started their journey. And so we want to take a moment to remember those families in your thoughts and in your prayers. And at this time, let's pause for a moment of silence. All right, Mado and Mado. And so we're going to get into it because we do have some guests getting ready to come in to the studio today. But everything is pointing towards Nation Days, but we do have some announcement before we get to all the Nation Days announcements. Florence, you want to knock those out?
All right, let's go ahead. So starting off in government, we have a band meeting announcement. The Northcote Parjo Band will be having a special call meeting on Wednesday, it's September 10th, from 6 to 9 p.m. at the North Community Building. This will be a potluck. And then the Tallahassee Band will be meeting tonight, September 9th, at the OAP Building at 7 p.m. This is also a potluck, but it starts at 6 p.m. They'll be discussing the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma budgets and the Light Horse contracts. Ocheezy Band will meet at the North Community Building on Tuesday, which is also today, at 6:30. Please email ocheezyband.seminole@gmail.com for the meeting link if you are unable to attend in person. And like we were talking about earlier, we had the inauguration this past weekend. A little excerpt from the post from the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma. In a groundbreaking moment, the Seminole Nation now has 2 women leading the nation as the principal chief and the assistant chief. In 1922, the first female Seminole Nation principal chief, Alice Brown Davis, was appointed by the President of the United States. 103 years later, Sena Davis Yeslith became the first elected female chief for the Seminole Nation, and Sheila Little Harjo became the 4th female to be elected as the assistant chief. If you'd like to read more or see more photos about that inauguration day, you can view that on the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma Facebook page.
All right, and then you might have noticed all the band meetings happening. It's because there is a General Council special call meeting happening September the 11th. That's going to be Thursday night at 7 p.m. This will take place at the Miccosukee Mission Council House. And again, that's going to be Thursday at 7 p.m. on September the 11th. All right, Flo, I think it's everything people been wanting to know. It is officially, we are right in the thick of it.
We're in it.
Seminole Nation Days is not this weekend, but it starts next week. But this weekend starts off with the baby pageant, right?
Right. Okay, so coming up September 13th, which is this Saturday at 9 a.m., the baby pageant will be at the Kelly Haney Center. September 15th through the 16th will be Elder Games and activities from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. September 18th at 6:30, the Princess Pageant will take place. And September 19th at 8 a.m., golf registration. 9 a.m., golf tournament begins. From 5 to 10 p.m., carnival rides are open, and booths are open, and vendors are open. At 6:30 p.m. that night, co-ed, slow pitch, and fast pitch, followed by the stomp dance at 7 p.m. On September 20th at 7 a.m., the 5K and 1 mile registration begins. 8 a.m. starts that 1 mile run and walk. Also at 8 a.m., the horseshoe tournament. You can register for that. 8:15, 5K run. 9 a.m., co-ed volleyball, co-ed slow pitch, and fast pitch. At 10 a.m. on September 20th, the parade, carnival, and horseshoe tournament begins. 11 a.m. children's activities, cornhole registration will also begin, and arena activities like the State of the Nation, live bands, traditional dress, bike giveaway, and more. And then wrapping up the rest of the 20th is going to be cultural demos. Cornhole tournament will also begin, followed by a 5 p.m. traditional meal. And finally, at the end of all those bands, right, 10 p.m. fireworks. And then finally, on that Sunday, September 21st at 8 a.m. will be the fishing derby and car show. At 8:30, the day of prayer and breakfast will begin. 9 a.m. is co-ed slow pitch and fast pitch. 9:30 will be Muskogee hymn singing. 10 a.m. will be the Sunday service. At 11 a.m., archery registration begins. 12 p.m., arrows will fly, and the carnival will open with, I guess that's closing out our day. 2 p.m., the powwow will start, and 7 p.m. will be the grand entry. So a lot of things to do. You can view that full, what is this? Not a roster, schedule.
Yeah, it's like a rundown.
Yeah, that'll be available to preview on the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma Facebook page. as well as, I guess, some of those flyers in it.
Yep, and so the parade, let's talk about the parade that's going to take place on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Is called Mujazi Alejitska, New Beginnings, September 20th at 10 at the Miccosukee Mission. The deadline to enter the parade is coming up September the 17th at 5 p.m., but you can contact Seminole Nation Social Services at 405-786-5025 for registration forms. Check-in lineup will begin at 8:30 a.m. on Saturday, September 20th. Again, registration will close day of at 9:50 a.m. So 10 minutes before the parade starts, you can get your float in.
All right. And then again, that horseshoe tournament is going to be September 20th. Entry fees are for doubles $20 and singles $10. Horseshoes are not provided. And the same day registration at 8 a.m. with the first match at 10 a.m. It is cash only, and that will be at the Miccosukee Mission. Then the cornhole tournament with cash prizes for first, second, and third. Singles, doubles, same day. Registration at 11 a.m. and bags fly at 12.
All right, and then car show on Sunday. That flow when you went through all those activities a minute ago, I was just thinking about how they wanted us to say that in about a 30-second spot.
That's crazy.
That took you about 5 minutes to read, and
I don't even think I was supposed to read all that, so I probably just threw the whole show off.
Oh, you're good. But Seminole Nation Days, car shows, Sunday, September 21st from 8 to 1, registration 8 to 11, $20 registration fee. And I heard from a good source that if you show up, they're giving away prizes and a full set of tires. So if you're in the market for some new skins on the old whip, on your Indian ride, make sure you get out there and try to win those free wheels, because they're going to be giving them away, I think, $1,000 max.
Dang.
Yep.
It's pretty good. All right, and then the kids' free bike giveaway is going to be Saturday, September 20th. A couple requirements: you must complete a survey at the child care program booth to enter, and you must be present to win. 1:30 p.m. that day will be the deadline to fill out a survey. This is for age groups from 0 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, and 11 to 12.
And then there is an archery competition happening on Sunday at noon. Same day registration at 11. Entry fees. The youth is free from 5 to 12. Teens 13 to 17 will be $10, and adults $20. Youth will receive a participation prize. Youth bow and arrows are provided. Teens and adults equipment is not provided. But all kids 12 and under must have a guardian present at all times. And just a little note, Seminole Nation of Oklahoma will not be reliable for any accidents.
Right. And then on Saturday as well, the co-ed volleyball tournament kicks off. It's a 10-man roster. Games will start at 9 a.m. It's a $100 entry fee, and the deadline to enter is September 17th. For any questions, you can contact Gary Lena at 405-287-0034 or Aaron Hill at 405-584-1766.
You know, we talked about the day of prayer. That's going to be Sunday at the OAP. Breakfast is usually served around 8:30 to 9:30. Last year, they had a great breakfast. It was really good until I dropped my plate on the floor, and then Joe went and got my second plate and ate it before I was able to get to it. All right, and then the fishing derby will take place on Sunday. Registration's at 8, but I heard they get down there a lot earlier than that, but the derby starts at 8:30. And then don't forget about the powwow happening on Sunday, and which will basically be all day Sunday from about 2. I think gourd dancing starts at 2 to 5, supper break, and then grand entry at 7. And then don't forget about the Seminole Nation Days, fast pitch and slow pitch softball tournaments taking place the 19th through the 21st. And then, right hot off the press, the 2025 Seminole Nation Days presents at 7 p.m. on Saturday Chabon Tiger Trio, and then also Lance Gouge at 8 p.m. Again, the concert is free and open to the public, and the fireworks show will follow immediately afterwards. And so make sure that you come out and you could literally spend all day, camp out at the Miccosukee Mission, get there for Sunday, day of prayer, eat again, and trust me, there'll be some great vendors out there. It'll be a good time and a good weekend. And so at this time, we're going to go ahead and transition because we are honored as the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma radio program to have these two guests in the studio today. We have the newly elected Chief of the Seminole Nation, Sina Yesleth, and the Assistant Chief of the Seminole Nation, Sheila Harjo, in the studio today. Welcome.
Good morning, Stone Cold.
And so Mark told me that the Chiefs were coming on today, and so they said, just go ahead and ask them any questions that you want to. So this Saturday was a great day. We kind of talked about it earlier with the inauguration. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind so far with the inauguration, everything going on. But yesterday was the first full day in office. I'm sure people want to know what your first day was like.
It was good. It's fast-paced, which is fine, which is good because I came from a fast-paced position already as a manager there at a clinic at Blackhawk, actually. And so the fast pace, it was good. It was just different information, different aspect because that's healthcare there. Here's different as a whole nation. Got to meet with the staff and they surprised us with breakfast. We had breakfast that morning. Met all the staff up there. Just trying to get with programs. We were hoping to go out and visit every program, but I think everybody was anxious in coming in. So it was really good, though. It was really good.
Good deal.
I agree with Sina. It was a very fast-paced day, but it was a great day. We got to visit with people. We got to see a whole new attitude about wanting to work together, new beginnings. They were happy, and the employees made us feel welcomed. Not only did they provide breakfast, we have roses. And, it was just a good day all around. Many blessings were shared.
And so I kind of just really got into what was your first day like. I didn't even let y'all introduce yourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and take a step aside for a minute because, Chiefs, we tell everyone that comes on the radio show that there's probably at least 1 million or 2 people listening, because you have the surrounding area. We are on the internet, so there's probably 1 million, 2.5 million out there listening. Why don't you tell everyone who y'all are?
Okay, Hinch J, newly elected Chief Sina Yesleth, and that's one thing I have to get used to is Chief, and even in my emails and things you'll see in my texts, I still just say Sina. So newly elected, welcome. Thank you for everything that you all have been doing. We've had good communications with employees since actually prior to the runoff and after the runoff, which has been really good and heartwarming to see all the programs come together and just be able to be there and ask us, what our outlook is and what we see. I grew up here in Seminole County, graduated from Varnum. My family lives here. We're all still around here. Have my mom left and my husband and my 3 children. And they were a big support on this way for this campaign. And as everybody knows, this is my second time running for chief. And this time around, I think I did a whole lot more aspect of reaching out a lot more than I did previously. I had maybe about 10 meet and greets, if not more, door knocking, individual discussions and talks have been finished up. This was my 12th year on council, my 3rd term. Did approximately about 10 years on the housing board, involved with JOM both at Varnum and Strother, where my last child is still at school. Just being in the community, put work in IHS and had work in the gaming, both here in Creek Nation. Child welfare work. So this is a whole aspect of coming in on this with different programs just being able to build our community, build our programs. What can we do to help you all? And something I've been using in all my campaigns and in talking with staff yesterday, Sheila, assistant chief, reminded me, what I've been saying this whole time is if you're not successful, then I'm not. And that's basically how it is the tribe. If we're not successful, then I'm failing at my job.
All right. And then assistant chief.
Good morning. I'm Sheila Little Harjo. I was born and raised in the Strother Thomas Little community area, attended Hajiti Church all my life, where my grandfather's, too many to count, was pastor down there. I'm married to Leonard Harjo, former principal chief. We have 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Attended Strother School for 11 and a half years. Got married, went to Texas. As all those young people, we knew what we were doing, and guess what? You don't. Came back home and got involved with my tribe since I was 19 years old. Worked for the BIA, worked for our tribe in different programs, summer youth programs, various positions, but most times it was in finance. I've been budget officer, controller, accounts payable, bookkeeper. So I worked my way up to the top. Went to work for other tribes, self-governance director, budget analyst, assistant finance director for a Chickasaw Nation. So my entire work life has been tribal, with one form or another, the tribes in Oklahoma and across the United States as well. But this is family. I live in Ada, but I only sleep there. Everything I do is here in Seminole County. This is my community. This is where my family's at. And again, as Cena says, if our tribe's not successful, we're not. And that's what we're going to be working on. And we have a lot of new things going to happen. We're ready to go. Thank y'all.
Good deal. And Chief, I do have a question for you, kind of right off the bat. You mentioned earlier that you did run for the office of Chief in the last election. What experiences led you to pursue the office of Chief?
So, growing up, my parents are both involved. My dad is a former Fusecci General Council representative. My mom, worked for the nation in CHR and finished out at IHS. She was both actively in their bands, and that's something they really raised on us is, we need to know our Constitution and who we are, who we represent, our clan. In that, and far as my mother and going to Miccosukee, I'm Miccosukee band, was that you needed to be involved and know how the band operates, because as a woman, it's matrilineal. You follow your mother, and so this is your band. And so my dad would always make sure that we went to our meetings and would tell us, because, at one time or another, eventually as you get older, you're going to be here in the band, and it'll be your voice here in the band, and you'll be the one to be next over, with the band. It was what he'd tell. I have 3 sisters, and he would tell us, this is where, you need to be using your voice. From that, coming home after Haskell, I came to work with, I did casino, but I got on at Wewoka IHS. And when I was there is when I worked in the diabetes program, but I talking to patients in and out around there who attended and came to the clinic, and or our employees, just knowing some of the things that we weren't getting done here in housing. Started writing points of view in there. Most of it was not my information, it was what was brought to me, but I was asking those questions. Went from that to my aunt, at the time, again, going to band meetings, asking questions. More or less not really asking at that time, but sitting there listening, would ask my aunt, ask things, my mom afterwards. And then once it came more political is when I think that really helped me, because my position was done for as far as speaking up. And my aunt had given me a skirt, my first patchwork skirt, and was like, when you get sworn in as general counsel representative, I want you to wear this. And I kind of laughed. I didn't think I'm not going to go that far. As far as being independent and speaking up and asking questions now of our representatives and of our band is my thing. But once it hit and affected my job, I think that's what lit the fire. And I thought, well, let me put my name on the ballot for council representative. both myself and my sister, that's 4 years younger than me, Jennifer, we got on there and we ran and we got our seats. So continued on in that effort. In that time is when just hearing from members and employees, just because either one, the representative, they felt like didn't work with them or was too afraid to ask questions at that time, or again, didn't work with them. So we didn't just myself or my sister didn't represent just our band, our Miccosukee, but anybody else that would come. We tried to find the information. We would ask their council representatives, go to your council first. If not, then we'll ask general vague questions. And it's been like that every term. I also in that time had saw the division in council coming in, whether it was just old family grudges and historical, or if their chief didn't win or their assistant chief didn't win, it was division. So just coming further on, the first time I ran 4 years ago, I think I just seeing what I knew was going on and the things that were coming to me, I just felt, okay, well, maybe I can go in there and be the one to make the change. When that didn't happen, I lost, went ahead, got back on council. My band was like, we need you in there. We're in there. And again, just being in there, probably I'll be honest, the last 2 years have been more vocal, because the first 2 years, I'll admit, I was a little salty. But at the same time, we're having issues with just felt like information not being forthcoming. And then I thought, okay, you're gonna have to finish this out. You're gonna have to do this. And especially because at that time, knowing I was being sought out, I had some tell me, we were told not to talk to you. We were told not to, share things with you, because you're going to ask. And so I didn't ask. I let things go. I didn't talk to a lot of people within the tribe, because I also didn't want them being in trouble if anything come out. Then the last 2 years, there just was, Sina, you can't finish out like this. You can't, because I was done. I had told my parents, I told my mom and my husband, I'm done. I'm done with council. I'm done with this. It's not going to change. We're hamsters in a wheel. We keep running and running and running. And when we fly off, we just get back on it and try again. And I said, I can't keep doing this. I was a year early, because they were like, you have one more year. I thought it was that year. I was like, elections now. And they was like, no, it's next year. And I was like, so I thought, okay, well, you still got this year. And, but then I started having people coming to me. Are you running again? No, I'm not going to do it. I don't, but the more and more progressed into 24, it was, you're going to run. We need you. And I said, I don't know. I was very hesitant. My mom would tell me, pray on it. And every time I did, something would happen the next day, whether it was something, I saw wherever I was at, somebody reaching out to me, something that was said or done. I had somebody approach me and ask me, if I run for chief, will you run for my assistant? I said, well, I thought I was done. I'll think about it. Again, I hesitated. What are you going to do? And went and got to closer to December. And I thought, okay, I guess maybe I'll do this. Like maybe foot in the door. Because that's what I got told by many was, well, if you started out as assistant chief, then we would have voted for you. And I said, okay, that's fair enough. So I thought, well, I'll do this. And then I find out this person's not going to run. And they said, but we need you to run. And I said, well, let me think about it. Again, talk to my family. And my mom said, well, I tell you, you've been praying. I said, everything I've been doing is still going for this. And I said, okay. And this was about... Actually, this was about November, and then going to December, I thought, okay, well, I'll still think about it. My co-chair had put up her nomination, and she asked me, and I told her I don't know. I said I haven't really decided which one and what I'll do. Come around, and February, I think I finally, I don't recall what really happened, and I told my husband, I said, okay, this is what happened today. And he goes, well, there's your sign. And I said, okay. Well, he said, you said every time, a sign came forward, something came up. And I said, okay, I guess I'll do it. But I still didn't announce it, didn't tell anybody until I went and filed. Somehow somebody found out I filed and it got out. And then from there, I was just like, well, because I was still hesitant. There was still people telling me, assistant chief, to get your foot in the door. There was people telling me, we need you on council. There was people telling me that, not this term, but the next term. There was people telling me to wait. And I said, so I wanted to keep it hush hush and see, but somehow it got out. And I thought, well, we'll go from there and just see. And then, but I had my band and I had some friends come on and said, this time we're doing it as a different aspect. I did have some meet and greets last time, but it wasn't as many this time and as publicly advertised. I didn't do a whole lot of Facebooking on anything, wasn't putting it out there. It was just word of mouth. And so this time we did a whole lot more different to be able to capture the community. And then along the way, others come on and said, we would like to set up meet and greets and can we help you? And I said, that's fine. If you want to help me, then that's fine. And so more meet and greets got set up and whatnot. And just told my husband, okay, well, you pay for this and I'll pay for that and we'll go along. And so that just kind of how I finally decided to go ahead and do this.
Good deal. Well, I'm sure based off the election, looks like everyone was glad that you did. So, and then assistant chief, I'm going to ask you the same question. What experience in your life led you to pursue the office of assistant chief this time around?
Well, that's a hard one.
It was an easy question.
Yeah, but
at least for me to ask.
For you to ask, yeah. Well, when the election season came up, we kept watching to see. And this is something our family has always done. Who's going to run? Who's going to announce? And we weren't seeing anybody run. We wasn't seeing anybody announce. So we were just sitting back. And I'm at home with the grandkids doing different things and running around. And then I just kept getting this gnawing feeling in my stomach. And I just ignored it, kept on. And then, and this is the truth, 2 days before we filed, I told my husband, I said, I'm being told to file for assistant chief. He said, what? You're just joking me. I said, no, I'm going to file. He said, if you mean it, then I'm behind you. So that's how that came, just 2 days before the filing period. But I felt like my experiences and what I see was happening on the national level in the political agenda, the federal grants, the Indian country, I felt with my experience, I could offer support to whoever the chief would be. I don't want the limelight. I wanted just to offer my support and my experience to somebody who could fight for us as Seminole people, us to make sure that we weren't left behind. And so that is why I decided to run. It never in my life, and this is the way I was raised, did it ever occur to me that, hey, you're a woman, and what might happen. But my thought was, I felt like I was the best qualified person. And when the historical thing came out, when we won the offices, even then it didn't hit me until like 3 days later, and this little girl come up to me, and she was just so excited, and and then inauguration day, I almost lost it at the podium being sworn in, because I looked out into the audience and I seen so many young women who I called my girls that I had helped somewhere along the way when time they were 5, 6 years old, with dresses, with sports, with different issues. And I'm a big domestic violence advocate, and even in that area, I seen these young women out there, and they were standing up, being proud. And that's when it hit me that we had done something, and we had done it for these people, and it gave these girls hope that things will change for them as well. But again, I owe it all to my raising, my experience in my life, and putting it forward to be used in supporting our current chief, Sina.
And I'll stick with you just for a second, Assistant Chief. You had mentioned about the historical aspect and young hooktie coming up to you. What message would you have for those young indigenous girls out there, those young indigenous women out there that might be looking up to y'all?
Believe in yourself. You may fall, get back up, reach out for help, but believe that you as a person, not as a woman, not as a non-woman, but you as a person are worthy, and you can succeed, and you can move forward with whatever you want to do in your life, because we have that opportunity. We're no longer bound by different things. Chief and I both know our backgrounds. We know what we faced to get here, and believe me, if we can do it, they can do it, and that's the message that we want to put forward, that believe in yourself and you will overcome, and have that faith.
Chief, we're going to ask you that same question. What message would you have to the young ones out there that are looking up to y'all? Because, even on Saturday, there was reporters there from outside media sources that was asking other young women in the audience, kind of what that day meant to them. What message would you share with those young ones?
Well, and originally when this happened, and thinking about it, Sheila bringing that up, that to be known that this is a historical thing didn't set in with me. Like, this never was the issue for me, was to be the first woman elected, or even a woman running. Like, it that was not for me. That was not the whole purpose of this. And when people started saying historical moment and everybody was putting it out there, it still didn't even click with me. I didn't even think about it that way. And so trying to now accept that and say, okay, yes, historical. And I did use that in my speech because many were telling me, you need to reflect that. And I said, but that's not what this was about for me. It's about for my people and what I could see we could do. But again, as she said, as you're standing up there and you see a lot, even prior to that, knowing the results and what happened and what was going forward, elders coming up saying, we're so happy, we have a woman in there, and now we can be heard and we're going to be seen. And even, younger women and then mothers bringing their children and their daughters and saying, they want to meet the first woman chief and we want them to be, proud. And that's what I will say, because I also have a 13-year-old daughter that I'm always telling her, to speak up, use your voice, be seen and heard. Don't let anybody tell you to be silent and to you're not just supposed to be there and not be, be respectful, but to make sure you're there and present. And so for all the women and girls to, there's never a dream that's not obtainable. Did I dream this? No, I never dreamt this as a kid and as a younger adult and teen that I would be the first. That was never that. But as you see, anything is obtainable. It's reach for your goals, your successes, no matter what it is, even if it's a cross-country meet, even if it's a softball game or a speech, you're hesitant to reach out and do anything as any activity. Look at what you can do and where you want to be and have your goals set and what you can do to reach that. Reach out to anybody, other women that you see as leaders. Can you help me? Can you show me? But have your voice. Stand there and have your voice. Have your voice be heard and try it. That's what my parents used to tell us. You won't know until you try. You won't know until, you can't say you didn't do it. If you can't, shouldn't be a word as part of your definition, your dictionary.
Good deal. And there are probably 1,000 more questions that I really want to ask, but I know we have time constraints here. And so I think we're going to go ahead and start trying to wrap it down a little bit. But before we do, what's some of the last, like a message that you would want to give out to the people? Like we said, there's probably 1 million or 2 out there listening. What's your message that you would like to share?
First to say Mado for everybody who is in support, who voted and who's there. And I understand that, for a lot of people, this was not something that they wanted, feel like that a woman should be here. But I'm open door, open communication. That's what I want to bring about to the people, is communicating and uniting and discussing, reconnection. There's a lot of our things that we are not connected in, whether it's programs and employees. We're losing our language, our traditions. I'm here. Same thing. I just want to work together with everybody be unified. I'm open and honest with any questions that you have, any information you want and need, resources. Again, my background, that's all I've ever done. And so my goal is to work for the people and not just the ones local, anybody. I know there's questions outside the county and outside the bounds that what can you do for us? Yes, the funding and the grant is restricted, but what can we do to open that? What can we do to put funds where and how we can do this? We're not a big revenue making, so that's another thing that we have to do. It's going to take time, but I'm looking at all these different aspects. And so I'm here to work for you. And I just wanted to tell all the guys here, so as being a woman in an office, there's things we're saying and some of the guys are just looking at us and we have to explain to them, oh, forget, because it's a woman. We walked in. I said, it smells like somebody got a perm in here. What's a perm? I said, oh, it smells like somebody getting their hair done. And then I've just caught that they had a box of tissue. So yes. And I did get flack of crying during one of my questions. And I said, but that's me. I'm about my people and about the things that we don't see and we hear. Working for two tribes, Absentee and Sac and Fox, they're not my people, but they're my people. And everything I put forth and effort in was for my people. And so I broke down because I just got out of work. My friends, I've been there almost 11 years. I had patients, I had a patient cry. What are we supposed to do? Who's going to advocate for us? They're running around in here looking for Kleenex and I get a paper towel. And so afterwards I told the guys, okay, boys, we got women. You got to have tissue. And so there's a whole box of tissue here.
And Assistant Chief, what would you say? Any message that you'd like to let the people know?
The main thing I want everybody to know is that it starts with the chief and I. We will work together. We will work with the programs, and we need you to work with us. We've got to do it together. We've got to be unified. In order for the Seminole Nation to succeed, we have to do it as a people together. And that's really all I want to say about that. Together, we've got to do it.
And just to piggyback off yesterday and today, that's every one of our meetings, everything we've done, it's been together. If we've had to individually meet with somebody, she comes straight in my office or I went straight to her and here's what's being said. Everything we're planning is trying to keep both of us in the loop and working together. And so, as she said, together.
Good deal. And so, at this point, like we said, there are so many questions, and I know that people out there want to know so many things. I had all these questions lined up for you, but time constraints. Hopefully we'll talk to the communications director and the producer of the show. Maybe if your schedules line up, we can have you guys back out again and it'd be awesome. But is there any last words, any parting words that you'd like to say?
But to staff, everybody's been welcoming, and I know everybody was scared and fearful of that, and I just wanted, everything to that we've been telling everybody. Just, again, we're here for the people, and we're here for the employees as well.
Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate us as Seminole people that we've made history. We're going to make a new future. We've got new beginnings, and we'll see y'all at Seminole Nation Days.
September 20th on Saturday and the whole week. And again, it starts this weekend with the baby pageant. And then next week, princess pageant on the Thursday, stomp dance on Friday night, booths open on Friday of next week. And then Saturday, you have the parade and all the activities out at the beautiful Miccosukee Mission campus. Make sure you get out there. Well, again, a historic moment here on the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma radio program. The first duly elected female chief of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma, but chief of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma, Sina Yesleth, and then the assistant chief of the Seminole Nation, Sheila Harjo. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We appreciate it. Tune in next time for another episode of the Seminole Nation radio program every Tuesday at 11 a.m. right here on KWSH 97.7 FM or the legendary 1260 AM. You can catch the rebroadcast of this radio show on the Facebook page, YouTube, and tribal website. for the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma every Wednesday around 8 p.m. If you have news or announcements you want to share on the community and events Facebook page, please email the communications staff at seminolemedia@gmail.com or call 405-652-7251. For the newly engaged Florence Wise, Muddo, and G. Jagathis.